It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was the right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
Skinner, but Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have 'em some fun, 'cause I'm a big hunk of crime fighting son of a gun. So if you're looking to fight, come on up in the ring. You wanna be held tight, just about anything can happen in the heat of the night on TNT. Hubba, 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 hubba. Heat of the night on TNT. Yeah.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. We at last! We at last!
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
Hey, welcome to the Alan Autry Show, No Retreat. I'm old Alan Autry, and as always, so honored and humble to have you with us today on Monstrous Monday. Bullet Bob nicknamed it Manic Monday. But we're going to defer to Jeremy, who likes Monstrous Monday a little bit better. You see Jeremy in the back if you're watching on social media. There he is, waving hi to everybody there. Folks, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you got a little R&R. Weekends are for family, going to church. Make sure you get your church service in. And did you get your workout in this past week? I don't think I've forgotten from the very first show. I said I was going to remind you from time to time that you got to work that body. The body's a temple, and there's no excuse for it. You do the best you can with what you got. And people say, well, I can't join the gym. The ideal thing is join the gym, go there 3-4 times a week will do it for, half hour, 45 minutes. If you don't, get your walk in, okay? And if you can't do that, we did a show on you can create basically your own gym. We did that on the show where showed you how to take the old laundry bottle there, and when you're done with that, fill it up with water, and that's your dumbbells, okay? And you can use that, do biceps, triceps. Or you just get creative. My wife would go in and get these big cans of fruit stuff. I'd see her doing her workout, and I watch her going, "Dadgum, that's pretty creative." And she maintained a very good physique and cardio with that as well. So get your workout in, because Harold Lincoln Sr., one of my mentors in life, and may he rest in peace, and just a wonderful, wonderful man. It was behind all of this fitness craze down on Muscle Beach in L.A. And he just believed, and I believe rightfully so, that your body is the temple, and everything just works better if you're feeling better physically. And he had a saying. He said, Alan, he says, it doesn't matter if you're feeling good or feeling bad. If you get your workout in, you will feel better. And he's absolutely right. Okay, just make sure you get that physical exercise in. And like I said, you just get a little creative, and it's amazing. 30 minutes a day, even 15, 20-minute brisk walk is great. All right, speaking of, athletics, that is an athletic subject, obviously. The weekend is also for a lot of sports. And I'm happy that our Fresno State Bulldogs, after some heartbreaking, crushing defeats, started out season 1-4. They won their last 2, and they went over to New Mexico and won it in a really convincing fashion, playing like people thought they were going to play. The pundits thought they were going to play at the beginning of the year. They lost their quarterback early on, and their other quarterback came in. I've been in that position. It's really, really tough, because in practice you don't get the snaps that the first stringer does. Hardly at all. You're with the second unit. Number one, you get few snaps as a quarterback, and number two, those snaps are usually with the second unit, and you don't get your timing down with the wide receivers and running backs, and just a whole veritable plethora of issues there. When you are summoned, the lead guy goes down, the starting quarterback comes down, you got to go in, and this kid Fife struggled first couple of games, took a beating. I mean, I've been there, and the one thing to take the starch out of a quarterback and take the optimism out of a quarterback is just to hit him constantly. Blitz, that's why the offensive line is so important. When you see an NFL team, they draft these offensive linemen that you've never heard of because they don't get the glory they deserve. And they'll draft some people, and you're going, huh, who's that? Well, probably a 3-time All-American from Michigan State who's really great at protecting the quarterback, because the quarterback responsibility is deliver that football, and you're not always in a position to absorb a blow. I would say 90% of the time you're not. And you're having quarterbacks like Tua going down. You had Ryan Tannehill went down. And our quarterback, Jake Haener, went down. And this kid, Fife, came in. But what a tough cookie. He absorbed those hits and just had one heck of a game against New Mexico. And the Bulldogs, after 1-4 start, are now in the driver's seat of a chance to win a division of the Mountain West Conference Championship and get a bowl game. So if they keep it going, go Dogs. Now, on the flip side of that, my Green Bay Packers Oh, goodness gracious. They are not looking good. And their leader is not looking good by his own admission, not playing well. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers. And, I played with the Packers for almost 3 years. And the old saying, once a Packer, always a Packer, is really true. It's a community-owned team. And if you're there for 10 years or you're there long enough to have a cup of coffee, you're a Packer. And they treat you as that, as a member of the family. So I really root for them and pull for them. And excuse me. And Aaron Rodgers, who succeeded Brett Favre. Brett Favre, if you're any kind of a sports fan, you know who that is. Hall of Fame quarterback, led Packers to a Super Bowl and many conference championships. Well, Aaron picked up right where Brett left off and won a Super Bowl there, doing really great. And then this year, there's just something, he's 39, and that's in the whole scheme of things, out in the real world, that's not old at all. I mean, you're not even maybe even approaching your prime in other occupations, but for a quarterback in the National Football League, you're getting up there. You got to be thinking about when you're going to hang this thing up. And I'm just Aaron. It certainly still has the ability. He's got the arm. He's got the intelligence. He still has enough mobility left, I'm saying. But what I am seeing that's bothering me is the body language. You can tell somebody, I love you, and your body language could say, I could care less about you. I mean, that's just, you learn that in acting classes. Your verbal communication is just one part of you that's communicating. How you say something, again, your body language. You could say, I'm really interested in this job. I really want it. You can be slouched down in your chair with a I don't give a crap attitude. And that's more telling than what you're saying. And in his press conference, he said this is probably something that they needed to have a defeat as they had Sunday against the Commanders. Not a great team. Commanders started their second string quarterback. Defense is okay, but shouldn't be enough to shut down the Packers, but they did. And I'm just noticing on the field that body language. You know what? Because I was like that when I was getting beat up. When you're just part of you. Let me put it this way. If you're going to be an NFL quarterback, I can't speak for other positions, but there's so much responsibility on the quarterback. They're the first one that gets the ball. I mean, it's the key that starts the car, the straw that stirs the drink, and every other analogy you can think of. It starts with the QB. And if you're not 100% in it in your mind, you're not going to really succeed on the highest levels. You're just not. And I'm seeing both in Aaron Rodgers and now Tom Brady, 45 years old. I know he loves the game. We've talked about on the show of being addicted to something. Drugs are not the only addictive entity out there. You can be addicted to lots of things that on the surface are good. You can be addicted to, your kids as a father. You can be addicted to your parents, never leave home. You can be addicted to a sport that you just can't give up because, you love the way it makes you feel. But I'm seeing the same body language on Brady as in Rodgers, that part of them just doesn't want to be there. Now, they'll talk a good game, but you just see it. You see in their movements, their little stuff. They may not even know that, well, they probably with surety don't know they're giving that off to people. But you can see the teammates see it in them. And it just comes a time to hang it up. I know neither one of them are going to quit right now, and they may rejuvenate themselves and go on and have lead their teams to great years. But it's tough once that zeal, that dedication to something, the passion that you have. There's certain occupations, if you drop off just a little bit, you really can't do the job. There's some other occupations that you can drop off some and still go out and do it and be successful. But quarterback in the National Football League is not one of them. And it's true, even though you can still fool them sometimes in other occupations, your heart not in it, but go out and still perform. I mean, acting's one of them. But people even see it in that, in performances. I mean, I know I've seen actors going, that guy just phoned that part in. and probably one of the greatest I've seen some really, really great actors I really admire, watch a performance. It wasn't because the movie was just bad or what have you. It was just, I knew that actor was not giving it everything he or she had. And you can show it on the screen. I mean, it happened to me. It happened to me when I was, I left Heat of the Night, and great experience. My gosh, I was on cloud nine every week. I look forward to ending one show and getting that script for the next show. You're in acting heaven when you get a series that has a good message to it. You have the leader of that series, Carol O'Connor, who's calling the shots from the writing to the producing, who has a higher purpose for the show. You're not going to see a bunch of foul language, a bunch of gratuitous nudity or anything like that. There's something meaningful behind it, and he was great at that, and he inspired everybody around him to be the best they could be as an actor. And then after that, though, after that got canceled, I did a show called Grace Under Fire and had a great time doing that for the season because it was something I really hadn't done a lot of. I'd done a sitcom here and there, one episode, but never a regular, and it was the closest thing to live theater that I'd ever gotten to. You get that immediate response. People either laugh at the joke or don't, and you get that immediate feedback. And I see how actors get addicted to theater because it's a great feeling when you feel the silence when they're in the audience, when you have a dramatic moment there and you know that they're feeling it and tell a joke and they're laughing. So had a good time there. That ended. Did a couple of more pilots that didn't sell. One with Aaron Spelling. Remember him? In fact, Tori Spelling is the one that got me the part on this pilot called Wolfpack. She saw me on Grace Under Fire and told Aaron, hey, you need to hire this guy for your new pilot. With Dennis Weaver, remember him? The McLeod series, and before that on Gunsmoke, played Chester. But it was a good one, but it just didn't sell, didn't fit into the network. Then Chuck Norris called me up to do a series called Sons of Thunder. And it was great. Don't get me wrong. What I'm about to say. Now, I have nothing but fond memories there. But something happened to me on that show. It's about the 4th episode. And again, having a really good time doing it, but something was just different. I was on a set and it just didn't feel the same. Good script, great cast, good message. Everything that should be filling me with joy and enthusiasm and passion, it just wasn't there. So we're setting up a scene, and I'm sitting there. It's in the bars. I played a bartender in there, and a good-hearted bartender. They cut people off when they had too much. But I'm sitting there, and Chuck Norris, who's the producer of the series, came up and sat next to me. And great guy. They don't come any better than Chuck Norris. What you see is what you get. He's just a wonderful, God-fearing, respectful man. I don't think one iota of ego has ever invaded his brain. He's so humble. And we got to be really good friends because his first name is Carlos, which is my first name. I'm Carlos Allen Autry. And he's Carlos, and his middle name, Norris. And in fact, we were walking along one time talking, and one of the drivers yelled out, hey, Carlos. We both turned to look, and then we looked at each other and go, your name Carlos? Yeah, my name's Carlos. So we had kind of that little connection, but we also had the Oklahoma connection. Both our parents worked out in the field picking cotton. We had both picked cotton in our life at an early age. So we just kind of hit it off on a certain level really quick. So you could kind of get into some more, I guess, deeper conversations and felt comfortable doing so. I know he would talk to me about certain things and that were kind of personal, and I would the same. And we were sitting there, and I said, Chuck, something's happened to me on this shoot. Really? I said, yeah. First of all, I've met people like yourself that I know are going to be friends for a lifetime. And I just can't thank you enough. He goes, well, hey, we're just blessed to have you. That's what he said, and that's great. I said, something else has happened. I said, I'm changing. And I said, if this doesn't sell, I think I'm going to hang it up. took a big long pause like I am on radio right now. What's going to come next? Because he's looking at me and not saying anything. I'm looking back at him. Oh, what do you mean hang it up? I said, I think I'm going to retire. He goes, permanently? I don't know. I mean, there's nobody clamoring for me to stay on television. I was okay in the heat of the night. I had an okay career, but it's not like, Jack Nicholson decided he's going to retire and was going to miss me. He says, well, no, you're shortchanging yourself. I mean, why are you? And he says, what do you think's causing this? I said, I don't know. I just think I need to be doing something else. At that time, I had no idea. If you would have told me that something else that God was going to put on my heart would be run for the mayor of Fresno, California, I said, you were bat doo-doo crazy. Seriously. That did not enter my thinking. But I could tell, even though they couldn't see it in the performance, I could feel it, that I wasn't, and I was given great scenes. And if you see it, you could say, oh, okay, he's all right in that scene. But I knew it just wasn't there. I look back on them when it was done. Gosh, I wish I would have had my head in the game a little bit more in that scene. I could have done this or taken a scene that direction. It would have been so much better. And I'd never felt that before. Well, make a long story even longer, it didn't get picked up, the series, because Columbine happened shortly after that, and the networks overreacted, and they didn't pick up any pilot or series that had one iota of violence in it. This didn't have a lot of gunplay at all, Sons of Thunder. It was Chuck Norris, on Walker, Texas Ranger. There was a lot of the karate stuff, but not much gunplay at all in that show. And that was Sons of Thunder was a spinoff. It was going to be the same way, but the networks, as they do, had to make a show, this synthetic display that they knew full well they were going to go back to cop shows wielding, and the private detectives wielding guns left and right after the reverberations of Columbine had passed. They knew that, but we didn't get picked up. So I told my agent, I said, you know what, until further notice, stick a fork in me, I'm done. And that didn't go over well with my agent, because he's a great guy, but I think he was seeing 10% of those steady paychecks that he was getting not going to be around anymore. But he supported me. He's a great guy. And after we had a long talk, he knew I was serious. And he says, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I'm just going to see what God tells me to do. But my point is, I've been there when the passion doesn't show up like it used to. When you're used to operating at a 9 and a 10, and it takes a lot to muster up a 6. And that's what I'm seeing in Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, for all it's worth. I'm not a sportscaster or anything, but I say that because I know how hard it is to break that addiction. Sports, entertainment, whatever, politics. You see people doing their politics, just addicted to being in office, not getting in to serve and then leave after a period of time. And I know how much it can cost you. And I'm delving in here, getting, I guess, a little bit too personal, but I don't know. This is just me speaking, hopefully light in these two guys. One's the quarterback of the team I love, Green Bay Packers. So you have that kind of, kinship there, because he's a Packer QB. I was a Packer QB. He was 1,000 times better than me, but we were both Packer QBs. And you have that connection, whether he knows it or not, with me. And then you have Brady, who's got everything that I wished I would have had. 7, 8, 9, 10 Super Bowls, I don't know. More money than he could spend in his lifetime. Kids, beautiful family. And on the football field, he got everything I thought I wanted. If I could just get that, I can get that Super Bowl. I can make money. I can play 10 years. Life will have no problems. I will just cruise after that. And you live life, you have to step away from that addictive situation called professional sports to be able to see what a big lie that is. Not only will it not fill those holes that you have in you, as we all have, that God's shaped hole, and I'm not casting aspersions on both, maybe Well, I know Aaron's not really a man of faith. Tom Brady is. I'm not questioning their faith. I'm just saying it's very difficult when you're a professional quarterback in that artificial world where people exalt you. You don't have to pay for anything. People are applauding your every move. You're on the cover of magazines. You're getting commercials left and right. It's very hard to step away from that and look at it for what it really is, a temporary blessing from God that's going to be gone someday. And it doesn't define who you are. You're not a football player. You're a child of God, and that football is just something you happen to play pretty well. There's going to come a time where you're going to have to let it go. Either they're going to have the passion, but you just can't produce, and they're going to cut you sooner or later, be put on waivers, or you just, the passion isn't there anymore. And you got to look at that as a blessing from God. He's kind of like telling you, okay, job well done. You lit it up on the football field. Now it's time to walk away and find something even more fulfilling. Most football players don't feel it's out there. They don't feel there's anything in life that can bring them that thrill. That's that big lie that the enemy of our soul likes to play on us. Because let me tell you, it wasn't pretty when I left the NFL. I sunk into the darkness. But when God brought me up out of that darkness and spoke truth into my heart, and I understood then that I was never again going to let what I did in life, whether it was an actor or a football player, be my identity. It would be what I do now, this talk show. That's not my identity. It's what I do. I'm a child of God. I do this. The roles I play as a mayor, I wasn't a mayor. Mayor just what I did. Public service, child of God. So I just, a deep dive into this sports weekend, but I just want to share it with you because some of you out there may have kids that's all they think about is football, being a football player, basketball player, baseball player. They're going to get that scholarship. You know, less than 0.5% of the athletes that play a sport play at the professional level. Or 99% of them. High school or is going to be the end of the line. Some of them junior high. And then, a few get to have the college experience in athletics and much fewer get to play at the professional level. So the sooner that these young men and women realize that, hey, be passionate about that sport, give it everything you got, do your best, let God do the rest. But by all means, don't let it identify you where you can't leave it, where it's totally disastrous to you and your life and the people around you. When that day comes, when that sport, you can no longer play that sport. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Liz Cheney. How about a segue like that from sports to Liz? But I tell you, you're not going to believe what she said. Well, maybe you will. But dadgum, you talk about a lady who has made politics her life and identified herself as that. It's Liz Cheney, bless her heart. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat. We'll be right back. Jeremy, we'll put up that, you'll have that ready when I call for it, for the Kevin McCarthy deal. Okay, sounds good.
1 minute.
All right, social media. Autry's Army. We'll be back in about 45 seconds on radio. Bear with us.
$30 seconds.
If you're wondering what these monitors are in the back of me there, right above Jeremy, that's one Fox monitor and one CNN. We are fair and balanced for real here. So if there's any breaking news, we got it for you.
10 seconds.
Ted Cruz.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry at No Retreat. This is old Alan Autry. And do you hear me loud and clear, Jeremy? Are we all right? Oh, my ears. It just sounds a little different through the earphones here. All right, before we get to Liz, I said we were going to talk about Liz Cheney and her latest attack on her fellow conservatives. I got to share this with you. I don't, for no other reason other than I want to share it with you. All right. It has no political connection to anything. I don't know where it fits in. It's a very hackneyed segue into this, but I just feel like sharing with you, so I'm going to do it, dadgummit. God, son, it's my show. I'll segue where I want to segue. Right, Jimmy? Watch the Real McCoys. I'm telling you, get on that little clicker, speak in there, Real McCoys. Watch it. I'm telling you, it's changed my life. I watched it when I was a kid. At Walter Brennan is unbelievable. And as it's like Harold Zinkin said about working out. If you feel bad or you feel good, you're going to feel better when you work out. We're going to same thing with Real McCoys. You're feeling bad, feeling good, you're going to feel better. Watch the Real McCoy. Okay. I go into Starbucks or drive-through, and there's a group of these kids, young kids. They're like in their early 20s, and they're so nice to me. One works the window. And they're nice to everybody. You know, they're told to, it's part of their training at Starbucks. And I get all that. These three are just kind of going above and beyond. Hey, Mr. Autry. Hey, Alan. And one of them is a really young man, probably early 20s, if that. And there's a young lady there who probably same early 20s. She just loves Mr. Autry. Thank you for coming in. When I drive through, so great to see you. Have a great day. And she has had on her one of the pride pins on there. And I only say that because some people think because I lean conservative that I don't have a high regard for people that are gay. Being gay is between you and your maker. It's between you and your maker. It's just where I draw the line. It's just like anybody telling my kid that they need to be married traditionally by the time they're 30. Well, no, don't tell my kid that at school at all, or don't tell them who to marry or to marry at all. I'm not for any of that social engineering and teaching from a teacher in a school. Dadgummit, math, science, history, do the subjects that's going to arm them with skills to make it in life. So people just have me pegged wrong. Howard Rollins, openly gay on Heat of the Night, played Detective Tibbs. A lot of people don't know that. And loved Howard. We had a great relationship. So anyway, but people think because you're right to life, you believe in a secure border, you believe in low taxation, you believe in mom and dad, and apple pie. I like a good old slice of apple pie. So they've probably heard about, my conservative leanings, including this guy, maybe, but she didn't care. And I'm thinking, wow, what a great relationship to have. And there's another girl in there. And there was three of them, always making me feel so nice. So I'm taking that, and I've never seen them or encountered them unless they were serving. They were at work.
And I know you've done this before, gone into grocery stores, and the clerks are trained that well to do that as well. Be very nice to customers. How's your day? Boom, boom, boom. They probably go home at night going, oh, geez. And they have to be nice even when they're not feeling well. And I get all that. It's part of their job. And you see that same clerk that says hi to you and glad to see you in the aisle, after they get off work trying to get some groceries and get home, see their kids or just get home from a long day. Not quite as friendly. They're not unfriendly. It's just you make a little eye contact and go, they're just going to, because they're not working, and they got stuff to do. So I don't hold that against them. So with that mindset, I walked into Starbucks yesterday and none of them were working. I looked at, well, it's unusual. Usually one of them working there. And then I hear in the corner, Mr. Autry, I look over and all three of them are together. They've got their laptops out. It looks to be doing some homework. I think they're probably all going to college. And they're just as happy to see me and acknowledge me and give me a word of encouragement and joy, even when they're not working. And that may not seem like a big thing to people, but I think we just got this generational thing going with all these issues that you have forces out there trying to divide us, not only on racial lines and political lines, but on generational lines. Because, they took the initiative. I'm friendly when I see young people, but part of my mind's going, what do I have to offer them that they would be interested in right now? If I was asked to speak to some young people, okay, I've got my speech on this, 5 steps to success in life and all that stuff. You want to have me come speak and I share it with young people. I've done that, still do that. But just in everyday life, you don't come in and you say, what do you got in common? And you realize that the thing that we had in common is they genuinely had a joyful heart. And for some reason, there was this connection that we had that we, all 4 of us, really enjoyed. The old man, 70-year-old man, and the 3 youngsters that could, that if you just look at appearance, you would say they would have nothing in common. They wouldn't even take the time to come up from their books. They don't have to. They're not on the clock at Starbucks. But they did, and I spent like 5-10 minutes with them, just really being able to discuss things, to have a good time more than when they were working. Anyway, just wanted to pass that on. Now, for another hackneyed segue, Liz Cheney. Oh, boy. I've been a little rough on Liz, but I think it's been earned by Liz Cheney. I think she's doing some things now out of anger, resentment, and something else I want to talk about today that I hadn't figured into the equation that is making her do and say some things that I think is going to be irreparable in terms of future public service. And it's hurtful to watch because I actually liked Liz Cheney. I mean, I don't know Liz Cheney. I liked her policies. I liked her manner. I didn't know she had this aspect to her. And I'm not talking about creating with Nancy Pelosi a January 6th commission. They had every right to do that. In fact, there should have been an investigation on that. But it was how it was put together right from the get-go. You knew it was not going to be a fair investigation with the intent and the commitment to find the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth that happened on January 6th. That old adage that both parties like to use, which is, we're going to pursue the truth wherever it leads. Yeah, right. You can say whatever you want to. I don't care anymore. I think I speak for a lot of you out there. I can give a rat's behind what any politician says. Am I cynical? You bet. Am I probably irreparably cynical? Probably. Because it's on the right, it's on the left. You can say anything. I'm going to do this when I get in office. I would never do that when I get in office. Look me right in the face. You can trust me. Hold me accountable. They say everything. But it's what they do. I want to know what you've done in your life in public service. If you've run a business, I want to know how you ran that business. Liz Cheney said this was going to be, again, an honest attempt, commitment to find out what happened on January 6th. Well, immediately, with her first step, she destroyed that. Any credibility that she had in that regard, because credibility was challenged when you think that Nancy Pelosi is going to put a commission together or be part of a commission that's truly bipartisan and it's truly going to allow scrutiny of a particular issue. You know, this is the one that tore up the speech behind Trump. Remember that? Even though there was a lot of good stuff in that speech, just hated Trump so much that you tear it up. But when she refused to let Jim Jordan, and I think there was a fellow named Banks, representative from Oklahoma, that wanted to be on this January 6th commission, which would have balanced it out. You've got Adam Kinzinger over there. You've got these frothed-in-the-mouth Democrats wanting Trump's head on a platter that were avowed anti-Trumpers under any circumstance. That the commission was loaded with that. Yet you do not allow the two Republicans that would really ask all the tough questions to all the witnesses, okay, Jordan and Banks. Yeah, two firebrands, but you got to have that balance. But no, the two leading Republicans became Liz Cheney, the chairman, and people think, I guess Pelosi thought we are just that dumb to think that she was being bipartisan, by picking her, who openly expressed her disdain for Trump, that she was going to do everything she could to make sure he never ran for office again before she was put as chairman of the January 6th. And then you have Adam Kinzinger. Same thing. A never Trumper, hates Trump with a passion. These were the two Republicans. So right off the bat, the whole thing is discredited, which was sad because we needed to get to the bottom of this. We needed to find out all the stuff that Trump did and didn't do. We needed to find out. The smoking gun is found. Smoking gun is found. But we also need to know why Nancy Pelosi turned down the offer to have the National Guard there. Trump's offer to bring the National Guard there. We need to have those questions answered. And you're going to subpoena Trump to come before the committee. You need to subpoena Pelosi and the Washington, D.C. mayor, Bowser, who said, don't send me any troops. We've got it. Even though the FBI informed them that you got some violent people getting ready to show up there. Okay? So discredit from the beginning. So it gets worse from there. The line of questioning obviously is meant to embellish and enhance and magnify every negative towards Trump and just deny any kind of information that would be exculpatory in anything that he might have done. But then she lost her election. People told her this, but I really believe she thought she could just do this and get away with it. It's not about Trump. It's about you went after the entire Republican and conservative movement. You lumped everybody into that. If you believed in anything that Trump did in his policies, not just in January 6th, but in his policies, you are a Trumpster. You've been brainwashed. You've been programmed. You're a mega MAGA. You're a MAGA fascist. And she held that mindset all the way through the election. And you would think after the election in Wyoming, the primary, when she lost by 44 points. I want you to try to wrap your mind around that. In Wyoming, one of the most conservative states out there. And the Cheney name in Wyoming, it's like the Kennedy name used to be in Democratic politics. 44 points. Put that in perspective. It's the largest loss gap of any incumbent of either party has ever suffered. A 44-point loss. So you think that would humble her back. But no, she's gone on the offensive. And now she's starting to reveal some other things, at least what I'm perceiving are very obvious motives of why she's doing what she's doing. One of them I never saw, but I should have. What I did see, and I talked about it on this show, is that she hated Trump from the get-go. She tried to play nice when he got elected, but he was in her crosshairs right from the beginning. Why? Because Trump mercilessly went after her dad, Dick Cheney, and George W. Bush. Said they were the worst president, vice president in history. Some gosh awful things. Now, as they say, blood is thicker than water. From that point on, you know, Cheney family, they're super tight. The Bush family, super tight. And the Bush and Cheney family are like family, super tight together. So she was looking for any vulnerability to go after Trump because you messed with daddy. But now she has gone after Kevin McCarthy on the Ukraine issue, which I think reveals another motive that's connected to Trump, that's connected to the bigger picture, the overriding motive of why Liz Cheney is going after Trump and going after the conservatives that have been very influential in lead up to the midterms, which looks like it could be a red wave. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. What I think, revealed 2 days ago in talking about Kevin McCarthy and what Kevin McCarthy said about funding the Ukraine war, the money being sent to the Ukraine war. And I think Liz Cheney's response pretty much exposes her exactly what her motives are. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat. We'll be right back. Can social media folks see that quote right there? Right now, Jeremy?
Yeah, or not yet, but
okay.
When you go to it, I'll
No, gotcha.
put it live.
Gotcha. I was just checking. You know, when you get a chance, you don't have to do it now, but if we can find Liz Cheney, if it's on YouTube, if you can find, oh my gosh, that was a slip. I didn't mean that, really. I love YouTube. I would never call it U-turd on purpose. Oh yeah, yeah. The Liz Cheney's response to Kevin McCarthy's quote on Ukraine. Oh, as Elmer Fudd would say, he's pretty unbelievable. Have here. Oh, what I have in my hand here, folks, is Gorilla Glue. Probably the most dangerous substance on the face of the earth this side of a dirty nuclear bomb. You ever get this stuff on your fingers? It's scary. What it's doing down there, I don't know, but I'm gonna stuck. Nah, it's not. Oh, Liz, Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth Cheney.
1 minute.
Why doest thou such dumbest things? Alas, poor Liz. Why doest thou go after Sir Kevin?
Can she get the Knothead Award?
I think so. Well, only because not what she said is she thinks that the public's going to buy this and is going to be on her side.
30 seconds.
You know, she's going to run for president.
Ten seconds.
listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat. Got a few minutes left in the show. And man, I hate to spend it on Liz Cheney, but dadgummit, this was once a highly thought of political figure. I'm in the Republican Party. She had a great future. Now she thinks she's going to work over at CNN. Oh, they're going to get rid of her like a side dish that wasn't ordered. She doesn't have the charisma to go over there. She's angling for a job on CNN. But my gosh, how it's fallen. But that's what greed and the love of money will do. What do you mean by that, Alan? Love of money? Well, I promised you for the break, I'm going to give you my take on this. Because the old saying, follow the money. Money's the root of all evil. That's right out of the Bible. I didn't make that up. Okay, on the screen, social media can see it. You on radio, I will read it. Here's the quote that Kevin McCarthy said the other day in terms of funding the Ukraine war. I'm going to read this, put my specs on here for the radio folks. Here's what Kevin McCarthy said on Ukraine aid. Quote, I think people are going to be sitting in a recession, and they're not going to write a blank check to Ukraine. Ukraine is important, but at the same time, it can't be the only thing they do. It can't be a blank check. Now, for simply saying something that probably, I would think 90 to 95% of the people that are not residents of an insane asylum would agree on. You can't continue in perpetuity forever. We're $31 trillion in debt already. Billions and billions have already been sent over there. Simply to say there comes a time where either Western Europe, Ukraine yourself, are going to have to pick up the slack here. United States of America, no country could do that. But that's the quote that made Liz Cheney. I wish we had the clip. But I'm going to paraphrase her response, and hopefully we'll have the clip tomorrow. I didn't give Jeremy a heads up enough to find it, but you got to hear this. In response to that quote, Liz Cheney said, well, it looks like, that what could be the next Speaker of the House is going to be an apologist and a supporter of Vladimir Putin. Okay, now I will tell you, I did paraphrase that, but not much. She literally said, because you can't continue to have a blank check on this, that Ukraine is going to have to someday define what victory means. They're going to have to show some progress. Everybody's going to have to face reality. Germany and France, Italy already have. They're in talks right now with Russia. And the new defense minister, Sergei Surovikin, because things have really ratcheted up in terms of the nuclear war possibilities. So simply saying that, what Kevin McCarthy said, she goes to this extreme and calls him a Putin supporter. That's exactly the kind of rhetoric she used on January 6th. These quick demonizations of people who simply said, well, can we have Nancy Pelosi come forward? Or the mayor of Washington, D.C., where this big riot happened, you'd want to hear from the mayor, right? You never had any cross-examination of any kind. But then we're into something, and it finally hit me. I'm going, why is this woman? Because she's going to run for president, by the way. She's going to do the Ross Perot thing. She thinks she's going to siphon enough off from Trump if he runs that will deny him the presidency. Kind of like what Perot, I think he did with George H. Bush. A third-party thing that you can siphon enough Republican votes over to give the 2024 presidential victory to either Biden or Gavin Newsom. But then it hit me. It's about money. Trump has been in her crosshairs. Yeah, he insulted Daddy, but also he was staunchly against these frivolous foreign wars that America gets involved in, that spends hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars on. Well, you know what you just know when you say that? You say your policy is for peace, not war. You have just gotten into the pockets of Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, and a lot of these neocons that are tied inextricably to this industrial military complex that Dwight Eisenhower warned us about. They make tens of billions of dollars off of war. Halliburton is the number one company. Cheney and Halliburton have made billions together, continue to make billions together. Liz Cheney will most likely sit on the board of Halliburton when she's termed out, or not on CNN. But even if she's not on the board, she's invested in these defense contracts with enormous amounts of money going directly into their pockets. And then it hit me. That's the main reason. That's the main reason they hate him. He's for peace, not war. Why? They don't make any money on peace. They don't make any money on hamburgers with Putin and Zelensky meeting at a McDonald's, having a Big Mac, and maybe talking this thing out, stopping the killing. No, you got to keep those cannons going. You got to keep those drones striking. You got to keep those howitzers blowing up innocent men, women, and children. All right. I hear Roy. Thank goodness for Roy. But we're going to continue on this because I believe with all my heart that's the main motive behind this woman's position that seems so illogical otherwise. All right. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat. Thank you for tuning in here on, is it now Monstrous Monday? Monstrous Monday. And I hope you'll tune back in on Taco Tuesday. God bless you. And remember, just do your best. Let God do the rest. And I promise it's going to turn out exactly the way it's supposed to.